join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then please remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we ask you to guide us in this meeting so we may be united in the spirit of mutual respect and in the healthy exchange of our ideas. Help us to work together for the good of all in our community. Amen.
Amen.
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is to announce that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. Also pursuant to the 2015 bylaws, rules, and regulations of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Burlington, time shall be set aside on the agenda for the receipt of public comments. Public comments will be received with respect to agenda items prior to board consideration of resolutions to be adopted. An additional opportunity for public comment will occur later in the meeting. Public comments shall be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Unused time may not be transferred to another speaker. Persons may speak once per public comment period. I direct the Deputy Clerk to enter into the minutes of this meeting, this public announcement, and the advance written notice of this meeting. Freeholder Bellegarde.
Here.
Freeholder Donnelly.
Here.
Freeholder Gargano.
Here.
Freeholder Schwartz is absent, and Director O'Brien.
Here. Okay, at this time, I'll be looking for approval of the minutes of the regular meetings of October 28, 2015, and November 12, 2015, along with the minutes of the conference meetings of October 14 and October 28, 2015. So moved. Motion by Bellegarde, second by
Second.
Freeholder Gargano. Questions? Additions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved.
Abstaining on the conference minutes of October 14 and 28.
Okay, abstentions as noted. At this time, we'll move on to public hearing for item H. Would the clerk kindly read the ordinance?
Bond ordinance number 2015-00666 of the County of Burlington, New Jersey, providing for the implementation of a stormwater utility enhancement program consisting of the design, construction, and reconstruction of various stormwater sewer system improvements in multiple townships throughout the county, and acquisition of capital equipment in connection therewith, appropriating the sum of $2,239,650, therefore authorizing the issuance of up to $2,239,650 in general obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes of the county to finance the same, making certain determinations and covenants, and authorizing certain related actions in connection with the foregoing.
Okay, we'll now entertain public comment on this item only. Is there anyone who wishes to comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll close this portion of the public comment and make a motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Gargano. Roll call.
Freeholder Bellegarde.
Yes.
Freeholder Donnelly.
Yes?
Freeholder Gargano.
Yes.
Director O'Brien.
Yes. Okay, at this point, we will move on to a public hearing for item I. Will the clerk kindly read the ordinance?
An ordinance number 2015-00668 of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Burlington, New Jersey, authorizing and approving the entering into, execution, and delivery of one or more improvement lease agreements and equipment lease agreements, each by and between the county and the Burlington County Bridge Commission, providing for the financing of the costs of design, acquisition, construction, and installation of certain capital infrastructure improvements and acquisition of installation of certain capital equipment in, by, and for the county as set forth in the 2015 capital budget of the county, appropriating not to exceed $45,430,737, therefore including an appropriation of $20,430,737 in state and federal grants, and authorizing other necessary action in connection with said financing.
We'll now entertain public comment on this item only. Is there anyone who would like to comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'll close this portion of the public comment and make a motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Freeholder Gargano. Roll call, please.
Freeholder Belgard,
Yes.
Freeholder Donnelly,
Yes.
Freeholder Gargano,
Yes.
Director O'Brien.
Yes. Okay, now we'll move on to public comment on agenda items. At this point in the meeting, it's limited to items on the agenda. And anyone who wishes to speak on a topic other than the agenda items can do so later on in the meeting. Okay, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to ask you if it has something, your comments pertain to something on the agenda. Elizabeth Broderick.
I don't know if it's on the agenda, I didn't see it looking through all of these things, but I'm here to talk about the pipeline that is proposed to go through Chesterfield Township.
Okay, that would be later in our meeting.
Thank you.
Agnes Marsda.
Marsala, no, I am not here to talk about the agenda.
Okay. Suzanne Martin.
I'm here to talk about the pipeline as well.
Okay. John Kukabinski.
Pipeline also.
Vincent Carabin.
Pipeline.
Dawn Sheridan.
Pipeline.
Martha Veselka.
Against the compressor station and against the pipeline.
Okay. Lena Smith.
Not on the agenda.
Mike Cronin.
Pipeline and New Jersey Turnpike.
Thank you. Paul Chenier.
Other. Nothing here with the
Okay,
agenda.
thank you. Steve Stern.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
I have just some questions and maybe some clarifications on three of the agenda items. K4, authorization to advertise for bids. There are a number of agenda items with that language. The bids that go out, are they available to the public, the RFQs? Are they on the website? Okay, what about once the bids are received, somebody in the county has to evaluate those responses. Are those evaluation criteria available to the public?
Yes.
The evaluation criteria would be contained right in the bid itself,
Oh,
or
okay.
the RFP.
Okay, so if I go to the website, I should be able to find each one of those that are listed in here?
Yes.
Okay, good, thank you. Item K5, the language is just a little confusing. It seems open-ended. Can somebody explain what that is?
We could have Edward Troy speak on that.
This is the resolution authorizing the award and/or rejection of contracts through the Department of Finance and Administration. It seems kind of open-ended.
It is open-ended, but attached to that are the specific contracts that are either awarded and rejected. So it is kind of the catch-all, but there is the detail behind it.
Okay.
Do you want to know what this particular one was?
You can give that to me offline.
Okay.
Okay.
And if I can just address that too, so this usually appears on every agenda, and each time there are new contracts. And I think this time, one was rejected and one we received no bids, so it's almost a moot point this time.
Okay, and since Freeholder Schwartz is not here, I'll talk about item K10, which is one of her favorite items. Request for additional attorneys to provide specialized legal services, and the question is, can that be done in-house, or has somebody done an evaluation as to why that needs to be outsourced?
Our solicitor.
There's absolutely no way all the legal services that need to be performed on behalf of the county could possibly be done in-house. Due to the nature of the specific skill set that the lawyers possess who we contract with, we would have to have a staff of 100 lawyers here. It would just no way to do it.
Can you give an example of maybe some of the specializations that we're looking for?
Sure, bond counsel,
Okay.
solid waste utility work, open space, farmland, labor and employment. Labor and employment personnel.
Okay, so the county attorney staff are more generalists, is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay, thank you. John Fulmer.
You're talking about the pipeline.
Okay. Thomas Lappian.
I'm here and I'm here to hear your opinion on the pipeline. That's what I'm here for.
Rita Romer.
Romeo. I'll be commenting about the pipeline and compressor station.
Thank you. Okay, and that is it. So is there anyone else who wishes to address anything on the agenda?
Yes, Tony Restucci from Chesterfield, about the pipeline.
Okay. Okay, I will ask you to come up later in the meeting. All right. Since we have no more with regard to the agenda, we will move on to our resolutions. I'd like to make a motion that we approve Resolution K1 through K19 by unanimous consent. Motion by O'Brien, second by Freeholder Belgard. Any questions?
I have some questions on K1.
All right.
Mr. Troy. So on page 17, do you have the legal bills for me?
I do.
Excellent. Moving on then to page 24, CME Associates, I guess it is. There was a bill for parks for $9,185.25. Can you tell me what that was for?
This is from Resource Conservation. This is for the remediation of the Smithville Schoolhouse.
Yeah, okay, thank you. You have refreshed my recollection, I appreciate that. Page 25, Command Company, I have to recuse myself. Page 28, Cumming Construction Management, $19,261.60. It looks like that's related to the college.
It is for project management services at the college.
And is this one of the expenses that you will be receiving reimbursement from the college for? Okay. Page 47, Cova Corp. Equipment repairs and maintenance, $49,266.14. Can you tell me what that is? I apologize, I'm going too fast.
This is for emergency management. This is their recording system for the calls.
Okay. And that is all that I have.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions?
I will be abstaining on New Jersey Carpenters, page 58 and 59.
I will be abstaining on Colonial Village. I will also be abstaining on K15, 17, and 18. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And then abstentions is noted. Thank you. Moving on to Freeholder Donnelly.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I would move for adoption of Resolution K20.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Donnelly, second by Freeholder Gargano. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it. On to Deputy Director Gargano.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve items by unanimous consent, items K21 through K32.
Okay, motion by Deputy Director Gargano, second by?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Belgard. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So, we will entertain questions from the press. So at this point, then we'll move on to public comment. And this is the time when any resident can speak on any topic. So I will go back to the sign-up sheet and go through the names. Elizabeth Broderick.
I'm Elizabeth Broderick. I reside at 47 Chesterfield Georgetown Road in Chesterfield, New Jersey.
Ms. Broderick, if you could kindly come forward.
Oh, I will.
And for the record and into the microphone, your name and your municipality.
All right. My name is Elizabeth Broderick, and I'm a resident for 23 years of Chesterfield Township. And I'm here today because I adamantly oppose the compressor station as well as the pipeline that's proposed for 528. As part of your duties as our elected officials, you're supposed to protect our health and safety. And this compressor station and pipeline is a huge threat. I'm a pediatric nurse for the last 44 years, and the rates of asthma and lung diseases are going up dramatically. And this compressor station is a nightmare, okay? It's releasing toxic chemicals into the air, the noise pollution, the air pollution is horrendous. And the risk of explosion from the pipeline is a possibility. And I'll tell you that there are 3 big schools, Peter Mutual School, Burlington High School, and the Chesterfield Elementary School, which together comprise probably maybe 2,000 or 3,000 children, are within maybe a mile and a half of where these stations are going in. It's a huge problem. 528 is probably the most congested, crowded road in our little township. You know, we're a little rural township, but it completely bisects the 2 parts of the township. If there ever was a disaster, people on one side of the township would not be able to get over to the elementary school to get their kids. And I was a school nurse for 20 years of my experience, and I can tell you, people will be panicked at not being able to reach their children. That's one part of it. The other part of it is the Transco part of it. And I've been going to meetings, the BPU meetings and the Freeholder meetings, and Transco has made some representations that really are not true. They had said that they notified property owners that lived within a half a mile of this alleged compressor station. And this last Sunday, Martha Vaselka and I went out and visited some of the people that were living there and asked if they knew what was going on and if they had received any documentation, you know, registered mail from Transco. And a lot of them were older people, had no idea that this was going in, and they really are within certainly sight distance or hearing distance of some of it. So, you know, we did get some certified letters from them, hopefully that we'll be sending to you guys as well. But I think that they misrepresented themselves right from the beginning. They said that this was going to be a booster station, and the compressor station is turning into, you know, a much bigger deal. You know, it's probably one of the biggest ones in the area. What am I asking you guys to do? Okay, because some of it is already done. What I'd like you to do is to block the opening of 528, and because it's a county road, you have the authority to do that. And if you did that, it would completely negate the reason to put the compressor there, as well as the pipeline. So I'm asking you to please, as people that are committed to protecting our health and welfare, even though we're a very small township, I would really like to see you act on this. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. Agnes Marcella.
My name is Agnes Marcel, I'm a resident of Chesterfield Township. And I want to say I really appreciate everything that the Freeholders and the engineer and the county council have done to oppose the project to date. We need to make certain that this will continue. According to Chesterfield officials, New Jersey Natural Gas has been spreading rumors that Burlington County is about to withdraw its opposition. Is this the case? That's my question to you. The project would need your permission to go to on the county roads, and not even the Board of Public Utilities can supersede you in that. So your position on the project continues to be very key. We appreciate all of your actions to date, and we need them to continue even stronger. We could use a resolution in opposition to the compressor station sent to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, the FERC. The FERC needs to know that you oppose the use of open space in Burlington Township, which the county spent public funds to preserve for the project. It seems Burlington Township has a strip of land that they have denied an easement for just the other night. And we need to know that you also, and it's also public open space. We need you guys to get behind the Burlington Township in that effort. Because that is county and public funds that went into that open space initiative. Both FERC and BPU need to know your concerns about the environmental, health, and safety of your residents who will not see any of the benefits. At this point, it does not seem that moving the pipeline is a viable option. New Jersey Natural Gas has presented loads of studies that show why no other route will work. That leaves just two choices: build it where they want it or not to build it at all. We need the freeholders to understand that at this stage, there are only those two viable options. There is tremendous evidence that the project is not needed, that it will serve 1 million homes. That's how much gas will be there. When New Jersey Natural Gas only claims to want it to serve 200,000 at most. The project is really about corporate profit, not public benefit, to move its own contracted gas from its investment in Penn East in Mercer County to its distribution center system in Ocean County, which is, at this time, it has no existing way of doing. The freeholders may have concerns about blocking what they have been told are Southern Reliability Link's resiliency benefits for the joint base. We know these benefits have been exaggerated and in fact made up. And we can show you emails between the base officials and New Jersey Natural Gas that have been reported on WHYY. But there's an easier way to show that these claims are exaggerated. New Jersey Natural Gas doesn't even provide gas to most of the joint base. PSE&G provides gas service to Vortex and to McGuire. They have never said that they have any problem delivering gas to the joint base without interruption, as they have an agreement to do. They have never said they needed this pipeline, and in fact, there is no way PSE&G will even be able to access New Jersey Natural Gas's pipeline. In fact, Southern Reliability Link will run directly from Chesterfield to the civilian side of Route 70 in Lakehurst. No military connection. Only vague discussions about what might happen down the line. It would also help for them, for you guys, to let the Pinelands Commission know on the record that Burlington County is opposed to the project, and anyone else that you can think of to let them know you're opposed. Because we know the Freeholder Board is very well respected in political and governmental circles around the state, and what you say holds weight. So time is of the essence, because closing arguments on NJNG's petitions are coming in December, and I urge you to make sure that Burlington County's road opening ordinance is in comprehensive enough shape to be able to consider all of the serious concerns raised in the excellent testimony of your county engineer about the Southern Reliability Link, and any other upcoming applicant for a road opening permit for that matter. I have one more thing to say about jobs, because I know it has come up. The jobs created by this pipeline will, for the most part, be people that live out of state. Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Pennsylvania. They will be short-term, one-and-done jobs. So that also doesn't hold water. And thank you very much for your time.
Oh, thank you.
If I may, the county has already passed a resolution opposing the proposed route of the NJNG natural gas pipeline and suggesting an alternative route. Beyond that, the freeholders can't comment on this today because it is still in litigation. So I just want you to understand that.
You can't comment on what, I'm sorry.
This is in litigation right now. The county is a party to litigation, so we can't further comment on it.
I know, but you said something about an alternate route. You said you're opposed to the current route, but what?
The resolution that was passed by the freeholders proposed an alternate route.
Can you pass another resolution?
Again, we can't comment beyond what's already been said right now.
What about the road access?
Oh,
The
I'm
matter's
sorry,
in
I'm sorry,
litigation.
I'm
We
sorry.
can't comment on pending litigation. I'm sorry.
But, Jen,
Okay, we're gonna-
for
we have to move
clarification,
on.
just for clarification, what he said is that you're in litigation on a proposed alternate route, correct?
No, that's not what he said.
Then
No.
please clarify.
The county is in litigation over the proposed route, the proposed NJNG route right now.
Okay, I'm clear on that.
Thank you. We'll move on to Suzanne Martin.
My name is Suzanne Martin. I'm a resident of Chesterfield Township. I live less than a mile away from the proposed compressor plant, as well as I will have the pipeline in front of my home, far less than 100 feet from my building where I sleep. I'm very upset about it. Everything I've read about it says noise, pollution of carcinogens into the air that I will be forced to breathe. At this point, I have grandchildren who come over to our house on a regular basis. I won't even want them at my home after this because I won't want them breathing in fumes that are known to cause asthma, skin rashes, all sorts of problems, and even increased chances of things like childhood leukemia. Why would I have my grandchildren in that? But yet, you have daycare centers in the midst of that. My granddaughter's school, which is in Burlington Township, is about a mile, less than a mile away in the circle. If the thing blows up, how many people will it take with it? And these people who want to do this, Transco has been dishonest in their applications. They've said we don't have wells. We all have wells on that road. There is no public water where I live. It's down in the developments, yes, but on our road, which they've singled out, I guess because we live so far apart and we're individual residents and not a large group of people like a population center, they feel they can do this to us. So far, you've been very supportive. And I know when I was at the BPU meeting and the county engineer came in, it was almost to me like Superman because you had someone actually saying why our road was inappropriate for this, why it was going to cost all of us in the long run a lot of money. But it's not coming out of Transco, it's not coming out of New Jersey Natural Gas. They don't serve any of us. They will just be sort of someone coming through, causing great detriment, great risk to all of us, putting us in harm's way, polluting our air, and in my case, putting a pipe bomb in front of my house, which I don't think is acceptable for anyone, and especially at that close proximity. And I know some of the residents along the route are even closer than mine. And when you have a well in front of your house and people are digging, that also puts your home in danger, just your water. And when your county engineer came in, he discussed the fact that after they put this thing in, if we do need to hook up to water or anything, it's going to cost a tremendous amount of money out of our pockets, as well as whoever is doing it. If it happens to be a municipal thing where they're running water, it's going to cost that much more money. So we really do need your continued support, and I really have been very upset about this whole thing. I can't even believe that companies that are based in Oklahoma, that aren't based even in our county, they serve a small portion of our county, can come in and draw a line and say, this is what we want to do, and you have to sit there while we do this to you. We can destroy your home, we can make it unsellable, we can stand up and lie at meetings with committee people, lie at every meeting they've been at. Half the time they evade answers, and we all have to sit there politely and listen to them. The other day, they said when the odors come out of this new gigantic compressor station, that they're going to put Old Spice in it to make it smell good for us. Well, every time we smell Old Spice, what will we know we're smelling? Formaldehyde, benzene, methane, and who knows what else is in there. Because when I went to the Sierra Club meeting, they said there was a possibility of radon being brought out from that because it's from fracking and it's under the ground, and that's where radon comes from. And I just say to you, we're human beings, we're people, we may not live very close together, but every one of us here has a right to sanctity of our home, to feel safe and to breathe clean air and drink clean water. And we should not have to go through a process like this where I have to take a day off from work to come in and speak on my own behalf. Because I don't even trust politicians along the way. Because every time someone says they're for us, they kind of like turn a little bit, so you're never quite sure who's for what. Because there's a lot of money and politics and power involved in this. And if you've been reading the papers, you see that the Joint Base at one point was supporting us, that they didn't have a problem with doing that other route. And then all of a sudden it all turned. Why does something like that turn? There's something being applied somewhere, and I don't know what it is, whether it's pressure, politics, money, friendship, I don't care. I just know I'm the little person on that road who has no power and feels just so angry. Just, I can't even tell you the anger I feel. And having to spend my nights a couple times this week, today taken off from teaching, so I could be here on a day right before a holiday and speak to you and just say, please take care of us. You've so far been very supportive. I really did appreciate the county engineer laying out to BPU, but I hope for your continued support, and that is why I'm here. So thank you for allowing me.
John Kukovinsky.
First of all, good morning.
Good
Thank you
morning.
for giving us the time to speak. I have some brief comments pertaining to this. This pipeline is not in number one, John Cook Kaminsky, 950 Province Line Road. I've been a resident for 42 years in North Hanover Township. The pipeline is not in North Hanover, in my opinion, the public interest, and its benefits do not overweigh the negative impacts to our community, homeowners, properties, our quality of life, and the environment. As you're aware, since the late 1990s, North Hanover has received and spent over $10 million to preserve approximately 4,000, maybe a little more than 4,000 acres in a township which reduced development. And now we're looking at this current situation. The current route impacts many homes in North Hanover and also next to the first, and you know this also, the first state-operated Veterans Cemetery, which is the lasting memorial for veterans, and it's on the route. This represents the men and women who put their lives on line to defend our country in honor and freedom. The Brigadier General W.C. Doyle Memorial Cemetery in North Hanover Township was dedicated on May 30th, 1986, and the 234 acres is the final resting place for New Jersey residents, not just Burlington County. And all I can say, honestly, is whatever actions you can take, this project has to be stopped. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very
Have a
much.
nice Thanksgiving.
Vincent Carabin.
My name is Vincent Carabin. I've been a resident of Chesterfield for about 8 years. I attended a meeting in Burlington the other night, and to say that their presentation was pathetic would be a compliment. Besides that, I get the feeling that they did have a lot of answers that they weren't going to give. This Transco, as far as I'm concerned, they operate like cockroaches. They do their things, and then if somebody shines a light on it, they come up with a new idea. My question here is, would it be wrong to poll all of you here as to, and it's not the pipeline, the alternate pipeline, that's not the issue, it's the compressor. The pipes have been there probably since Methuselah, but the question is the compressor. That is the issue. And I'd like to poll each of you and ask, are you in favor of having a compressor in that location?
Well, during this time, it's public comment, so we need to hear from you at this point.
Well, I think it's a reasonable question because how do we know what support we're going to get? We're coming here. All these people here, 99% came here.
Well, I think legally we can't.
This matter.
No, wait. Litigation is one
Sir,
thing.
with all respect, this matter is not on the agenda for action today.
I'm not asking for action. I'm asking for an opinion.
To rely upon the existing resolution that was passed by the board.
Certainly. So we're anxious to hear anything that you have to say.
I was just looking for an opinion. I wanted to poll each of you because you're our only, right now, you're our only salvation. Who do we go to?
Right, it's not an
Thank you.
agenda item. All right, thank you very much. Dawn Sheridan.
My name is Dawn Sheridan. I live at 79 Burlington Chester Road. I live right near Suzanne. I live right near Vincent. I live near quite a few of these people. I have 2 wells and 2 septics. With this line coming through, it is going to destroy everything. Are you going to be the one to come in and tell my 93-year-old grandmother that she has to move? You can't take a shower, you can't drink, you can't eat. You know, I grew up in Chesterfield and I moved and I came back because we're a tight-knit community. We also know North Hanover, we know New Egypt, and we're all there for each other. When this compressor blows, you're not even going to imagine, what are you going to do when somebody has a heart attack? EMTs are not going to be able to get through to them. No one's gonna be able to get through to them. My biggest thing is, I say to my son all the time, actions speak louder than words. I understand you're in litigation, but do not throw in the towel. Because when you guys are polling and you want us to vote for you, you come out and you're all about us. Well, be about us. Show us that you care about us. You wanted our support, now give us the support back. I understand you can't comment, and I don't want to comment from you. I don't think anybody wants to comment because you're under litigation. What we want is actions. I'm a little person. I have been reaching out to Dora Marie Adiago, Linda Greenstein. I've been reaching out to Dancer, everybody, as a person, to get them to support us. And if I can do that as myself, then you guys have more power than I can. You can do the same thing. I wanted to have my son grow up in Chesterfield. I wanted him to live here. I see all my neighbors. I know that. I'm spending Thanksgiving with one of my neighbors because we're that close. Dogs see other dogs. We know everybody in there, and we see kids playing. I was at Terra Orchard yesterday, across from it, and I could smell the odor from it, from the compressor station. And that is at least 2 feet down the road from where it is, like at the beginning of Cold Soil, where you can see where it says Transco Station 205, you can smell it. It was in the back of my throat. Now, if you want to smell that, I don't think you want to. And I don't want to. And I don't want to be any part of it. And it's not right at all. I don't care what you do to it. When that compressor station blows, no one is going to be able to get anywhere. And you tell the EMTs and the firefighters and the ambulances why they can't. When the Ewing thing happened, they were able to reroute people and get them to the hospital. One person died because she tried to go back in and get her cell phone on her own stupidity. But what are you going to do when that bridge blows, when the turnpike goes? Nothing. You're going to have traffic backed up, there's going to be accidents, and it's not fair to anybody. I live right near it. And as far as I'm concerned, you have the power to say you're not opening this road. And honestly, I will take keeping septic and well water for you to pass a resolution that says you can't open that road for nothing, not even water to come through. I'll take that. And I'm sure everyone behind me that has that will say the same thing. We would rather keep our sewer and our septic and our water and our well water. I'll put in 9 wells for all I care. If you pass a resolution that says you can't put anything down here, I'll risk not getting that water. But what I won't risk is having my son get leukemia, cancer, die. I don't want my 93-year-old grandma. She's been there since it's been built up. She's been there since it was farmland. And she wants to die in that house. She doesn't want, she hates seeing everything that's going on, but she's changing. And she asked me when I came down here, I talked to her, she said, please talk to them. You have older people that have nowhere to go. They're on Social Security. That's why I'm with my grandma, to help her with the bills. She has nowhere to go. What is she gonna do? Who's gonna pay for her new well when they disrupt it? That's what you have to think of. Right now, you guys don't live in Chesterfield. You don't live in North Hanover. You live where there is city water and sewer. You don't understand what it's like. It's $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to put a new septic in and a new well. Are you going to come out of your pockets and say, here's $30,000 to help you? I don't think so. So you need to fight. And my last words to you are, actions speak louder than words. Show me that you care about us. Show us that you're for us.
Thank you very much. Martha Paselka.
Hello, Martha Paselka, 34 Stell Road, Chesterfield, New Jersey. I appreciate the work you've done to try and not have the pipeline where it is. I just believe that you need to be a little bit stronger. We need to be against the compressor station complex, which is 30 acres. We'll have 3 driveways, 2 150 feet antennas, and 8 full-time workers. This is a complex. This will not be manned full-time, only during the day. But if an emergency happens, we'll get help in about a half an hour. So I hope that you could live if this goes through with this, because there will be many people in the area, schools and churches. The compressor station also has environmental impacts. We will have pollution, volatiles in the air. We will have smells that aren't going to be pleasant. People will really not want to live in that area. The groundwater will be contaminated, possibly contaminated, and every house in that area on the Chesterfield side has a well and a septic. Who is going to pay to baseline all of the septics along the pipeline and the compressor station, baseline those wells to make sure that they were clean before the pipeline went in, so when they are contaminated, we could sue the pipeline people? Who's going to pay for that, for the baseline of all these people? It's very dangerous, it could blow up. You know, we all know that. It can leak, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous for the fire departments, for emergency squads, etc. One of the biggest things is the economic impact. If you take just 8 homes around the compressor station and say that their house value decreases 30%, that's about, out of a $250,000 home, that's $50,000 they lose each home. Oh, I'm sorry, $75,000 you lose for each home. Times 8, that's $600K. Just the houses around the compressor station, on the Chesterfield side, not the Burlington side. If you take the houses along the pipeline, that say they lose 20% in value, and the average value of a house is $250,000. So they lose about $50K a house on the pipeline. Multiply that by 70, that's $3.5 million. The impact to the community of the residents is over $4 million just to the residents of Chesterfield. Then you add to that you know, they all want a reevaluation so that they get a, you know, we have the same tax rate, they're going to be reevaluated at a lower amount. And if it's we use a 2.29% local purpose tax, no county tax. At that lost amount, the town will be losing $94,000 a year in revenue. And I don't have the county, I don't know how much it'll be losing. All right, jobs. The realtors are going to be losing money. They're not going to be able to sell anything. A friend of mine has their house for sale right now in the compressor station area, no bites at all. His house might even be unsellable. What's going to happen to these people? Who's putting money in escrow for this lost value of houses? People with farms that are selling food, who's going to want to buy food from around here? There's going to be so many jobs lost. You got organic farms, you have farms. There's so much of an economic impact. It's incredible. And then Penn East just got slapped. No, Penn East, which is bigger than Southern Reliability Link, just got slapped by the FERC for exaggerating the job impact of the pipeline. Yeah, so that's a big farce. Okay, now so I'd like you to adopt a resolution against the compressor station. Adopt a resolution against the pipeline. Your existing resolution says to move the pipeline. It said it will create jobs. I just said why it won't create jobs. Your existing resolution to move says you still support the construction of the gas pipeline, and it will assist in the operations of the joint base McGuire. We just learned that it really won't, and PSE&G is really the main supplier there. In the event of Superstorm Sandy, there's not going to be any gas on. And the biggest thing is the health. Along the pipeline, there's low-frequency noise, and that affects people. We heard someone talk from Boytown last night. She's losing sleep every night, and that's one person, because of the low-frequency noise along the pipeline. You're going to have hundreds of people with this going by their house. I mean, they shouldn't be affected by the pipeline and not be able to sleep, and God knows what the long-term effects of this low-frequency noises of the pipeline. I urge you to be against the compressor station, against the pipeline, and to not allow the pipeline on our roads. Thank you very much.
Lena Smith, please.
Good morning, Lena Smith from Food and Water Watch. So today I want to first thank you for taking action to oppose the current route of the pipeline and to try and do everything you have. To thank you for doing what you have done to try and stop it from going down Route 528. But I'd like to encourage you and ask you to continue to do everything in your power to stop these projects, to stop them, not move them, and cite the health and safety risks to the communities that these projects will pose. There's been a lot of talk about compressor stations. I'm not sure if you know what they are. They are facilities located in regular intervals along natural gas pipelines in order to keep pumping natural gas along the length of the pipeline. They emit large amounts of air and climate pollutants and contribute to significant sources of noise pollution and are subject to dangerous explosions and fires. So these are just some of the concerns that the residents are bringing to you today. We've talked before about the hazards of pipelines, which run a constant risk of leaks, spills, and explosions. They additionally emit toxic air and climate pollutants. There have been several large pipeline failures in the past few years, leading to massive damage and even loss of life. And these failures have highlighted the risks, and the pipeline systems in the United States are chronically underregulated, and their safety cannot be guaranteed. Additionally, the pipeline goes through the New Jersey Pinelands, which is a preserved area, and will disrupt some of the threatened and endangered species in the region. The cumulative impacts of the projects cannot be ignored, specifically the serious harmful impacts from the hydraulic fracturing process. These include water depletion, creation of toxic air emissions and wastewater, and contributing to the climate change crisis through unregulated, unfettered, and overwhelming release of methane. Natural gas offers next to no climate benefit owing to emissions of methane, the primary component of natural gas and a potent greenhouse gas. I also wanted to remind you that the leaders of our nations from around the world are going to Paris next week, and they'll be speaking on climate change and taking action to curb our emissions, and we are demanding that they take action to stop the spread of natural gas. And I encourage you to do the same, like many of these global leaders will be doing, to become climate leaders and to protect the future of this earth. The pipeline is not necessary for the region. It's not in the public interest, and its benefits do not outweigh the strong negative impacts to your communities, your properties, and your quality of life and the environment. These companies are proposing the pipeline and the compressor station solely for corporate profit, not public interest, and the community will be inflicted with the negative impacts. They'll entrench us in continued dependence on fracked gas rather than move us to a renewable energy future. We ask you then that you take further action to stop the compressor station and pipeline, citing the health and safety risks the projects will pose, and sending these messages to the Pinelands Commissioner, who you have elected to serve on your behalf, the BPU, and the Federal Energy Regulating Commission, that you are opposed to these projects. Thank you.
Mike Cronin.
Good morning. My name is Mike
Please state your
Cronin.
name and your town.
Mike Cronin, Chesterfield Township. My wife and I are the owners of the National Register historic property that is within 0.2 of a mile from the compressor station. We have not been notified of anything. For reasons known only to themselves, our township committee has sold their souls to the devil for $856,000. I am here today to ask you, as the higher sovereign, to try to redeem them. The second point I wanted to bring up is the New Jersey Turnpike Authority. The last heavy-handed entity that we had on Route 528 in Chesterfield Township. There remains a lot of things undone that was supposedly on their checklist. It's my understanding you have not taken jurisdiction of that section of 528 in the replacement bridge area of the Turnpike. And I have gone to the Township Committee. They have called the county, and they've gotten no answers. So perhaps somebody can give me an answer as to when you will take jurisdiction of 528 in the vicinity of the Turnpike Bridge, and when the Turnpike is going to complete all those things on their to-do list in the vicinity of 528. Thank you.
All right, Paul Chenier.
Good morning, Paul Chenier. I live over in Mount Laurel. Thank you all, first of all, for your service. Joe, about a year ago, you were going to send me an email as to the status of Pinelands Library. I know email's slow, but I'm still waiting, but.
I don't think I was. I think I directed someone.
Okay, well, no one has. And what I'm asking is, what is the exact status of that library? Medford apparently is in the process, or I think of building a new one, and I would assume that the county's involved.
Yeah, we're partnering up pretty well with Medford Township to hopefully have a new facility constructed. I can't say the next 6 months, the next year, but we have entered into what I would consider to be very fruitful conversations and negotiations from both the Library Commission side as well as the county side.
So they will be, building a new one?
I don't know that it'll ultimately be a new one or an improvement to what they have, but the conversation's going the right way.
Okay.
It's really going the right way.
Thank you for the email. It's a little late, but
Free of charge.
Mr. Stern?
Nothing to add, just wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you. John Fulmer? Please state your name and your town.
Okay, John Fulmer, North Hanover Township. I recently found out, to my horror and dismay, that a 720 PSI 30-inch gas transmittal pipeline, New Jersey Natural Gas Southern Reliability Link Project, is proposed to pass my home along the narrow Arnytown Chesterfield Road in North Hanover Township. A similar 30-inch pipe blew up in San Bruno, California. The explosion killed 8, injured 58, and leveled 35 houses. These hazardous high-pressure transmittal pipelines continue to blow up on a regular basis across the country. The proposed route will pass many businesses, several churches, at least one school, and hundreds of homes, well within the 557-foot blast radius. And all it would take is a minor welding fault, material fault, or digging in the wrong place to unleash a holocaust. Carl Weimer, director of the Pipeline Safety Trust, recently said that the new pipelines are failing even worse than the oldest pipelines. A real estate appraisal group conducted a survey regarding the impact of large gas pipelines on the buyers and home values. The survey indicated 58.9% would not buy a house at any price with a large gas line on the property or next to it. 18.7% said they would consider buying, but only at a reduced price, and 70% said it would take longer to sell the home. How would you like to wake up every morning knowing that the equivalent of a 1,000-pound bomb was buried in the street next to your home? How would you like to know that the presence of that pipe would make it difficult to sell your home and probably cost you in excess of $50,000 in the resale value of your home? All without a dime of compensation from the gas company because the pipeline is in this so-called right-of-way. And just because a for-profit gas corporation wants to establish a short, inappropriate corridor across the state and doesn't care how many are hurt. I also specifically have a problem with BPU, which I know you don't control, that only requires notification of homeowners within 100 feet when the blast area of such a pipe is at least 557 feet. That, in my mind, appears to be criminal negligence. Anyway, please stand firm against the unnecessary pipeline and compressor station. These projects are hazardous, will emit toxic chemicals, noise pollution, leaks, blow-offs at the compressor station, create a nightmare during road construction, and reduce property values. Please take whatever formal, legal, and other action that you can take against them. Thank you very much for your time.
Thomas Glapian.
Thomas Glapian, 606 Chesterfield, Arnytown Road.
Chesterfield?
Chesterfield, New Jersey. Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving. You know, I've been involved with this for a while, listening and coming to the meetings, and I get to hear both sides, not in my backyard syndrome and this and that and the other. I live my well's within 20 feet of the pipeline that's proposed. I'm on 528. That's a county emergency evacuation route, correct? It is. The turnpike, north to south corridor, you're putting a compressor station down there? So you're asking that the entire northeast could be crippled by a disaster, not just Chesterfield. You blow up that compressor station, there goes the northeast turnpikes, right? Well, let's talk about what I've been hearing also. It's my understanding that there were people that were on the Pinelands Commission that were opposed to it, but the governor fired them. But maybe that's rumor, but I know it's not rumor. I'm 61 years old. I was born on Fort Dix, the old hospital. You probably don't even know, it's before Walson. I played in that area. I served in the military. I'm retired military as well as a retired police officer. And I just spent the last 10 years running the criminal investigation section up at the Joint Base. Whoever proposed an alternate route, I'm gonna stop the pipeline, but I know that it didn't have to go through any of the ranges. It didn't have to go through the base. You have existing rail lines that were there that cut up and can circumvent all of that. But it's a rush. I think either it's United Communities, the privatized housing that went in, then you got that down in Lakehurst and everybody's looking for that gas. You've got a road that's at 539 that's paved, a brand new road that runs from 539 into Lakehurst. I don't know if you're aware of that. Nobody looked at the alternate routes seriously. So I don't trust anything that's going on. I see Marianne O'Brien, the comments in the paper said in July, the resolution said, you just don't like that road. You're looking for an alternate route. Well, if it has anything to do with a compressor station that's going to blow up and shut down the turnpike, you need to say cancel it and nix it. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful
Rita Romeo.
Hi, good morning. Rita Romeo, 433 Ellisdale Road, Chesterfield. And I want to thank you all for letting us have the opportunity to speak to you and voice our concerns today. We appreciate it very much. I've been a resident of Chesterfield for about 19 years, and I moved here from Philadelphia, mainly because most of my work was in New Jersey. And I moved here to the Chesterfield community for several reasons, but 3 of them were because it was beautiful, because it was clean, and because it's very safe in many, many ways. I am also an avid bicycle rider. I've been riding for the last 12 years or so throughout Burlington County, Monmouth, Ocean. And I'm very active with the Princeton Freewheelers riding group, and also have done the Anchor House ride. So a lot of those people that are members of both of those organizations are from Chesterfield and from Bordentown and from the other areas around the counties. We appreciate the cleanliness, lack of air pollution, and us being able to go out and ride. We appreciate the Union Transfer Trail, which is brand new, but I also hear is in jeopardy because of the proposed pipeline route. I, for one, don't want to be worried about taking a bicycle ride and, breathing in, harmful pollution elements, and also worried about whether my route that day is going through the blast zone. And I feel that a lot of other people from both areas feel the same way that I do. The second point I'd really like to make, which echoes Lena's comments about the necessity of the pipeline and the future, is in my research I've read very proudly that New Jersey is, I believe, #2 in the United States in terms of solar energy progress that we've made, and that's a great fact. And I'm hoping that we continue that effort, and I think that is a very, very cool thing. We're ahead of the curve, and I'm just asking myself, why do we need this natural gas pipeline? It seems just so antiquated and not with, the wave and trends of the future at all. And then that's all I have to say about that, but I'd also just like to say, as everybody else did, that we really, really need your support in this. And then also I'd like to ask you, I don't know if you can answer or not, for this group of concerned people, what else would you suggest that we do?
Well,
Hey,
There's always, letter writing, reaching out to state senators.
The legislature.
Yeah,
Assembly.
We need to change 2 pieces of legislation to make the alternate routes work.
Okay, all right. And what about stopping the compressor station? The complete,
I think in addition to the legislature, you have to reach out to DPU. I think you should write letters to the editor. I think you should continue to be vigilant and vocal, because, you know what, I think that sometimes squeaky wheels get the oil.
okay, thank you.
Good morning. My name's Tony Restuccia from Chesterfield. I've been a resident there for just about 30 to 35 years. And I can tell you, one of the things that drew me to Chesterfield 35 years ago was the inception of what now is known throughout the state as part of the farmland preservation process. Through efforts of that township and this group, the county, the township was able to preserve thousands of acres of farmland so that we could have an area where you could grow crops and have a nice community environment. I think what's threatened now with the pipeline and probably more importantly the compressor station is the fact that we have seen government agencies take great strides to prevent pieces of land where soybeans are grown and corn are grown, and there are tree nurseries, which is great for the environment. But now we're asking you as a group to have that same kind of concern for the residents of the township. It's one thing to preserve the land and the crops and the open spaces, but that's nothing without the residents of the township. And when something happens with a pipeline or a compressor station, I was around when the county first started building landfills. And I remember the public hearings at that time where someone said, and it was prophetic, that there's 2 things you know for sure about a landfill. Eventually it's going to leak, and eventually it's going to stink. And they were both true. Now we have a situation where we have something much more volatile than a landfill. We have natural gas running through pipelines that's being processed, and when that leaks, or that smells, it could mean that there's harm to the environment, there's harm to the community that's there, and there's also could be chances of very extreme fatalities if something goes very, very wrong. So I would ask you to have your support to not just look for an alternative route, but to be against the compressor station that's in that township, in our township. The other thing I'd like to point out is that because of the timing of the meeting, it's great to have a public hearing, but as you know, many, many people cannot change their schedules to be here today. So as you saw, there are many, many residents from our township, and only a fraction of those residents got up and spoke. But I will tell you, for every person that's here, there's another 100 people that would want to be here. We have a small community, about 5,000 people, and it'd be hard, you probably find on one hand people inside that township that are supportive of it. So the fact that there's a small group here or a small community, please understand, the people that speak here really speak for the thousands that live there. And we really want your support, not for an alternative means, but we would like your support in denying the location of that compressor. Thank you.
That's all I have that have signed up. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? I see hands back here. But you're here. That's okay. You're here.
Yeah.
Just one at a time, please.
Oh, just, okay. I'll stand on the side.
Okay.
Hey, Steve Benovitz, committeeman with Bordentown Township. We figure we're one entity as a town. And I'm Jim Can, I'm the mayor of Bordentown Township, a lifelong resident of Burlington County and over 31 years in Bordentown Township. We had the displeasure of having representatives of Transco Williams come to our meeting Monday night, at which they wanted to limit the conversation to simply us providing them an easement without reason or justification, just because they're Transco Williams and we should provide it. And they weren't prepared, in their words, to answer any of our questions. And there are a lot of questions. But I think the first and foremost question, and I don't want to be repeated because you've had a lot of great comments and conversation here, But I think the first and foremost question that you need to consider and really look at is the benefits that this provides. First off, in my township, it provides 0 benefits. Chesterfield Township, 0 benefits. North and Hanover Township, 0 benefits. Guess what? Burlington County, 0 benefits. There are no benefits to us. So this is not a public good for Burlington County, Bordentown Township, Chesterfield, or North Hanover. This is all to service the greed of a private company. If you think I'm wrong, Downs, I believe, is the CEO of New Jersey Natural Gas, before his SEC filings, stated that he was going to be increasing the pipelines and pipeline pressure to Ocean County for servicing new customers. Nothing about reliability or the needs of, or the effects of Sandy, simply to service new customers. He also sold it to his shareholders in that fashion. Again, nothing about reliability, which is what we hear about. So I would say to you, the first thing that, as a resident of Bordentown Township, Burlington County, and as a mayor of my town, you need to not be looking at alternatives. You need to be looking at flat out opposition to this. The pipeline and the compressor station. The compressor station, by the way, I don't know, does anybody explain to you blowdowns?
You can speak.
Thank you, I will. Believe me, I have no problem speaking. Blowdowns are a process in which they lower the pressure in the gas line and then clean it out. It's been referred to as the sound of a jet engine taking off, a jet taking off from an airport. That's the sound. And by the way, they'll tell you that it's only going to be a minute or a minute and a half, but it's been known to go on for 2 hours. And it's usually done after midnight. So suppose you live within that area and you have to listen to that kind of noise. And just so you know, the gases that these companies release, the gas that is, the toxins that are released with the gas, they are such things as benzene, known carcinogen, toluene, a known carcinogen, sulfuric oxide, and formaldehyde, another known carcinogen. Someone mentioned radon. It's radon 222, and yes, it is in gas, especially gas coming from fracking, which is what this is. This is just another way to get the Marcellus Shale supply of gas into New Jersey, either for export or to sell to new customers in Ocean and Monmouth County. You're going to have noise pollution, air pollution, and I believe water pollution, because the radon 222 sinks into the soil. And you know, that benzene and toluene and formaldehyde, when it's blown in the air, it comes down also. Oh, by the way, nitrous oxide is also another byproduct. And if you don't think that happens, Cornell did a study and showed that pipelines leak 3.6 to 7.9%. Compressor stations, like the one they're proposing in Bordentown, or in Chesterfield, which is on the Bordentown Township border, 3.6 to 7.5% leakage on an annual basis for a pipeline. So when you think about a compressor station with gaskets and joints, you think about how much more of these wonderful gases, besides, you know, the odor of methane, we're going to be receiving in our area. There is no public good here, folks. This is totally against the public good and for the greed of a private corporation. We are loaded with pipelines. Haven't we been had the disservice enough of being, you know, the conduit for other entities? We need to stop this. It just needs to end. In Bordentown Township, we have a private preschool that's less than a quarter mile away. We have 2 communities, 2 developments that are within a half mile. We have 4 developments within a mile. Our high school and our middle school are within a mile of the blast radius if a compressor station goes up. So if you're talking about 500 feet for a pipeline, think about what a compressor station with all, because it's not one compressor. It's a lot of compressors. And if you don't think they blow up, let me just give you a little something that I read to them.
Mayor?
They were under.
I very much appreciate if you could speak with our engineer. I'm sure you have, and we'd like to hear even more.
I'm just trying to give you evidence of what I'm saying. 2011, Lathrop, PA,
I'd like to hear.
an explosion in fires. This explosion in fires since 2011, and I'll stop. Lathrop, PA, we're Brooklyn Township, PA, Montrose, PA, Branchville, New Jersey, Windsor, New York, Pinedale, Wyoming, Marengo County, Alabama, Oaktown, Indiana, Langston, Oklahoma, 9 Mile Canyon in Utah. These are compressor station explosions in the last 4 years. It's disgusting. You need to get out in front. You need to oppose.
Yep, we want to.
Period.
Mayor, even though your time is up, may I just ask you a couple of questions with regard to the status in Bordentown?
Yes.
So, you talked about this easement, obviously that was denied by the township. Was it the
Absolutely.
planning board or was it the
Absolutely.
township?
We will take all legal action to delay them, stop them, do everything we can. As a matter of fact, I just posted a private property because I told them I don't want their people crossing my land.
And so where is it in the process right now? Did it come before your planning and zoning board? Did it come before you as a
Came before us
council?
to present their desire for an easement Monday night on the 23rd.
Okay, so just a preliminary presentation to you, is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so it hasn't come to any kind of vote or anything, and I saw
Their attorneys have asked us, and we turned about a month and a half prior, I guess, so it's sometime in September, their attorney asked us to sign off on the easements. We refused, told them that we would be opposing it.
And if they cannot get these easements from you, what happens, do you know?
They have to get FERC to say that that it is in the public good, the necessity, benefits outweigh the negatives,
Okay.
and then they can use eminent domain, which we will fight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman, if you could please state your name and...
My name is Steve Benowitz, 34 Van Drive, Bordentown Township, crossroads of the heart of New Jersey. I'd like to keep it that way. Number one, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. Number two, I disagree with the statement that was made before about the number of people in the audience and the representation. Let me tell you something. This is a tremendous group of people turning out, and they deserve a round of applause for coming tonight, really. Now, I'm not going to go into a big, long speech because most things have been covered already. However, I do have to say a few things. I've lived in Bordentown Township since 1969. Beautiful town. If you ask me, probably the most beautiful town in New Jersey, but I'm not going to say, I'm not going to knock Chesterfield, Bordentown City, North Hanover. We have a group that's getting together in opposition to something, as the mayor said before and everybody else, serves no purpose, does no good for our township, doesn't do anything, and environmentally, the impact could be disastrous. That's been brought out. I came out of retirement. I'm old now, that's the best I could say. However, I came out to serve and protect the people of Bordentown Township. And if you think I'm not going to do everything I can on this earth to stop that compressor and the gas line from coming into Bordentown, you're out of your mind, number one. Number two, again, last Monday night, we had the hearing. Many of these people in the audience attended that same hearing. And the presenters did not answer any questions that were posed. They came totally unprepared. Now, I don't have to tell you, if I were making a pitch to you and I come unprepared, what are you going to think? Absolutely. I saw the looks on your faces, all right? The thing is, you're not going to want to hear anymore. You want the particular proposal to go away and not harm anybody in our area. I'm not just speaking for Bordentown Township. I'm speaking for North Hanover, Chesterfield, Bordentown City. And again, please do everything you can, whether it's resolutions, whatever you have to do to show your support for these northern Burlington County communities. I thank you again. Happy Thanksgiving, a good one to everybody. Thank you.
There was a hand in the back. Okay, if you could please come forward. Ma'am? Please state your name and your town.
Good afternoon, my name is Peggy Hallion. I live at 76 Georgetown Chesterfield Road. I also sit on the Chesterfield Elementary School Board. Monday night, we had a special meeting and we did adopt a resolution opposing this pipeline as well as the compression station. Unfortunately, I do not have a hard copy of it to present to you today, but you will have it shortly. I would just like to make one statement stating that the mission of the school board in Chesterfield is to provide a safe environment for our children and for our staff in the learning areas. Our school is within 1/2 mile of the pipeline. It is within 1 mile of the compression station. If anything was to happen, and I pray to Lord it does not, okay, our school would be wiped out, as well as the, right now, 767 children that attend that school, plus the teachers. Now, that, we're not going to be here to even worry about it if that ever happens. My concern is also the construction of this pipeline. That pipeline goes between the emergency services in Chesterfield and the Chesterfield Elementary School. If any emergency, if somebody broke into the school, if there was a fire, if there was anything, the emergency services would be delayed in getting to our children. That's a major concern. Please take that into consideration. This pipeline, this compression station needs to be stopped. Thank you.
I see another hand, far right corner, ma'am, and then next, sorry, you can be. Please state your name and your town.
Barbara Fox Cooper, Upper Freehold Township. 2 brief points. Upper Freehold Township hasn't been mentioned today. They basically backed down from litigation, and what they did instead is they moved it from the middle of town to the outskirts of town, which happens to be Province Line Road. It did not minimize the impact. It took it from a neighborhood of homes to a street that has a historical hamlet called Arneytown with pre-revolutionary homes and a cemetery, the military veterans cemetery, wetlands, a golf course, Monmouth County Park, but they backed down. They were threatened by a lawsuit, and I want to encourage you to not back down from a lawsuit. Number 2, I'm a member of ResponsiblePipeline.com. Our membership is 350 members and continuing to grow, which represents Chesterfield, North Hanover, Upper Freehold Township, and any town affected by this pipeline. We really appreciate and we need your help. We were at Monmouth County Freeholders last night, and they appreciated our feedback because they withdrew their opposition because they didn't hear from the public. They're going to reconsider that. Thank you.
Please state your name and town.
David Sass, also from Chesterfield. I wanted to start by thanking you for giving us the opportunity to speak on this issue, especially in a public forum. I came here today hoping to hear your opinions as to what the resolution in opposition of the current route meant to you, but I understand the legal advice that you're getting, rightfully or wrongfully, is to not comment due to litigation. So I thought maybe I'd take the opportunity to talk about what that resolution means to me and also to your constituents. I'm sure when you passed it, you thought that it was a good idea to move the pipeline, that was fighting a good fight to try to move the pipeline and give residents of Chesterfield, Burlington, and the rest of Burlington County what they want. But I thought it might be helpful to give you a view and the perception of what that resolution means now after time. It doesn't mean that you're fighting against the pipeline. In fact, most of us view it as that you're in support of the pipeline, because by saying the route is okay somewhere else, you're okay with the pipeline. And by being in support of the pipeline, you're also okay and in support of the compressor station. Because you need a compressor station to have the pipeline. They go hand in hand. I hope that you do understand that. Excuse me. So I want to be clear that a resolution as it currently exists is not okay with the residents of Chesterfield, the residents of Bordentown, everyone along the route. I think you've heard of a lot of the reasons why. The health reasons, the environmental reasons, financial, resiliency. Thought it might be helpful to point out though, you've heard from a lot of people along the pipeline next to the compressor station. I'm neither. I don't live on 528. I don't live next to the compressor station. I'm not okay with it. There's a lot of people that are not okay with it. So please understand, it's not just those that live right next to it. It's all of the residents. I think I can speak on behalf of Chesterfield and the surrounding towns. I thought that was a point that should be made. So I just wanted to finish by being clear what we do want. We want you to oppose the pipeline. I think you've heard it over and over, but I think it's important to go on the record that that's clear, everyone. I think there's a lot of ways to do that. A resolution being passed in opposition of the pipeline would be a great way to start, to get that out in front of the BPU, get it out in front of FERC. Come out publicly in opposition of the pipeline, which also means in opposition of the compressor station. Road opening permits. Hopefully you're talking about this. I know you're in litigation, so you may be talking about it, but just in case, throw the idea out there anyway. You have the ability to control the county roads, I'm sure you know, including 528, which goes through Chesterfield. Make the cost to open those roads prohibitive. Make the permitting process prohibitive so that and New Jersey Natural Gas doesn't want to do this or has a big fight on their hands to do it. I don't think the permits as they exist today do that, so please consider that in your actions going forward. But finally, as I just mentioned, please take the fight publicly to BPU and to FERC. They need to hear what your position is on this matter. Hopefully it's not just in opposition of the current route and okay with another route, but in opposition of what exists today. This is what we want, and this is what we expect as your constituents. Thank you.
Is there anyone else this evening? Please state your name and town.
My name is Beverly Mills. I live in Chesterfield Township. Lived there for over 30 years. Both of my boys are part of the emergency services, one with the state and one within the township. They've made several references to lack of, what do you call it?
Accessibility?
Accessibility of the emergency services. Recently I had an incident at my own home with my wood stove. Because we do not have city water where we are, we do not have fire hydrants. So we rely on the aid of Bordentown, North Hanover, and surrounding towns to give us aid and water to fight a fire at your home. So if 528, which is the main route that Bordentown supports our township, if there's a fire or an emergency problem, Bordentown would not be able to get to us. And also the surrounding towns of North Hanover, New Egypt. When they came to my home, there were 4 towns that responded. There were 10 fire trucks in front of my house, and I didn't even need water. But if there is a fire in our township, that is what is required to keep the pools that they provide in order to provide us with water, a constant flow of water, so that those tankers, the fire trucks, can put water on a fire. And I am employed by this school. It will keep that from being able to happen. While our school was under construction, we did have a fire at the school. One of the construction firms that was working up in the roof of it, when they were doing something with a blowtorch, ended up lighting up the roof of it. And we had to have support from the base for that, from the other towns, surrounding towns. They would not be able to get to our school because they have to either come down or cross 528. This is a major artery for everybody here that, you know, you can't keep that artery closed or sections of it for a long period of time and expect the residents of our township to be supported by the necessary emergency services. So thank you for your time.
I see another hand over there. Oh, you'll be next then. But sir, you can. Yes. Please state your name and town.
Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving. Matthew Litt from Chesterfield. And I just want to piggyback briefly off of something that the mayor of Bordentown mentioned, which is that the potential reward for your constituents is virtually zero. I try to look at this objectively and try to divorce emotion from it, which is difficult to do as a resident of Chesterfield, but I try to look at it objectively. And I look at the potential risks of this pipeline and of the station, and I look at the potential rewards. I'm not an engineer, so I don't know where on the scale between significant and substantial the risks are, but they're somewhere on that scale. And when the potential rewards are so close to zero, I just see no excuse for the four of you or for everyone up here but to do everything that you possibly can to stop this from happening to your constituents. Thank you.
All right. Hi, please state your name and town.
Linda Freese, Chesterfield Township. I came before the board at the June 10th meeting, and I requested that the board file an intervention with FERC in opposition of the compressor station, but I have not seen any documents on the FERC website from the county, so I don't believe this was ever done.
Solicitor, we have filed intervention.
We definitely have litigation at BPU, and I'll double check on the FERC issue.
On the compressor station.
Right, the compressor station, not the BPU.
We have it, you're not in there.
You're not there.
You're not there.
We can help you out
That's
there.
okay, that's all right. Thank you very much. If you
Yeah,
could please,
and the response on the environmental assessment from FERC is due by December 1st, if I'm not mistaken. So you'll need to get comments into FERC before that date. And you want to make sure it's before that time, because sometimes there's trouble with the website and you can't end up getting your file accepted. So just make sure it's not, the night before. And I wanted to make sure you're aware the massive size of this infrastructure. It's going to be most likely the largest compressor station in New Jersey. It's double the size of the one, Station 205 in Lawrence Township. And they're going to increase the one in Lawrence Township in order to feed this one. They're going to increase the pipes. They're going to have 48-inch pipes feeding this compressor station. It's going to be huge. They've taken up so much land to put this. It's not only going to be the compressor station, they have to have the meter regulating station, and they have to have their own electrical substation just to power this compressor station. This is a massive infrastructure. And if there's any events that occur, any catastrophic events, any breach in integrity of any of the systems within this structure, it's not only going to affect 528, it's also going to affect Bordentown, Georgetown Road, because that's the side of 528 that it's on. It's right in the middle there. So you're not only going to be affecting the emergency evacuation route of 528, you're also going to be affecting the route of, is that 545 Bordentown, Georgetown Road, which is currently closed right now. So there's not going to be any escape for the residents of northern Burlington County. The only other exit out is Ward Avenue, and that's not a real easy road to get to. You have to go through the town of Crosswicks to get to Ward Avenue to evacuate. So I was hoping the county will oppose this compressor station? And if you don't, how will the residents of northern Burlington get out in case of an emergency? Of course, that's just any of us that are left alive if this thing does blow. And I can also, I just wanted to comment, I can speculate the reason these new pipelines are being compromised, because the old pipelines were made from steel, which was a much better quality back in the 50s and 60s. You can't get that quality steel anymore, so the pipes are not of the same gauge, they're not as thick. They could certainly put a thicker gauge, like they did for our property underneath the Burlington Chesterfield Road 528. They lowered it, they did actually put a thicker pipe for that section for us. But unfortunately, whatever they did there also has increased the low frequency noise. And I'm the person that's been complaining, and they did a study, well, they sent a company out to do a study on low frequency noise. Even though I gave them the times when the noise is occurring, because I believe it's coming from Station 205 in Lawrence Township, because when I went out there to Cold Soil Road to see if that's the same noise that I'm hearing, it was the exact same noise. It's a very low frequency noise that a lot of people can't hear, but I'm sensitive. I have sensitive hearing, and it actually vibrates the bones in your head. So if you're putting in earplugs, it actually makes it worse because it deadens all the surrounding noise. So all you can hear is that. And also the snowstorm last year, when the turnpike was shut down. That's all you could hear outside was the pipeline. And this is only the 16-inch pipeline that this noise is coming from. The 36-inch Trenton Woodbury lateral is going to be feeding this compressor station. They're going to increase the pressure. I have that documentation. They are going to increase the pressure in that pipe. So that's going to be an issue too. And they don't have the obligation to provide noise abatement for any of their pipes below ground or above ground. So if they're not forced to do that, they're not going to do that. But they can take steps to provide noise abatement for the pipes.
Okay, if you could give that information about the noise to our engineer, to hear more. You say you have more information on that, so if you could, please.
Right, and when they did the study, just like they do all the other studies, they're evasive. They make sure they do stuff when nothing's happening. So I gave them the times when the noise occurs.
Okay.
They sent someone out while I was at work, so I had to leave work, go down there and explain to the people that were doing the testing, it's not making the noise now. But they said, well, we're here, we have to do it anyway.
Very good. If you could tell our engineer, that would be great. Thank you, Ms. Freeze.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, folks. Happy Thanksgiving. Frederick John Laverne from Delanco, New Jersey. I have a question for Mr. Collins. What is the docket number of the proceedings that you were unable to speak about?
Excuse me?
I'd like to know the docket number of the pending
number?
legislation.
I don't have it in my paperwork, I can get it to you.
Would that be something you could provide to this audience so that they can look at the proceeding as it's gone so
Sure.
far and we can see exactly what's being discussed?
Absolutely.
That'd be great. Will that be posted on the website as a response, or can you send that to me
The
directly?
BPU docket number in which the county is involved in this litigation?
That's correct.
I don't see why we couldn't post that.
Okay. I'd like to request that you do, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, sir.
Well, thank you for allowing us to speak today.
I'm sorry, if you could please
Thank
say
you
your
for
name. And your-
Neil Rary,
Neil,
R-A-R-I-G.
okay, and your town?
Live in Chesterfield, New Jersey, at 609 Chesterfield, Armytown Road.
Thank you.
Normally I'm a person of very few words, and I'll probably continue today. But I do have a couple of areas I would like to cover. That's, first of all, and most important, is safety. At one of the meetings, and I'm talking about grandchildren that come to visit, they have a bit of asthma or some other, as allergies go these days. At one of the meetings, there was a person stood up to speak that at one time worked on pipelines, gas pipelines. He no longer does work on pipelines. But he said, basically, as long as you don't have to make a little bit of a turn or an angle, right turn, left turn, they're pretty good. But once you start making alterations on turns, the percentage of increase of possibility of it not working properly, seals leaking, not being properly put in, increases dramatically. Now, he said maybe up to 10% increase. That's, I guess, that, but if it's a pipeline, you don't need any possibility. With that in mind, when I first saw the projected map, I saw it on 528, and a lot of us said, well, that's no good, there's too many people living there. And it's just going to affect too many people, safety-wise. The little bit that we know a lot more now about pipelines and what they can do to affect us in our community. I saw the original map, and okay, it's a pipeline, it's going to pass their houses, and it's going to affect a lot of people, 140 families. The property, they're going to be coming close to wells. In my case, yes, it's going to be about 40 feet away from a well. My neighbors, he said 20 feet. And then I saw later a little bit of a change in it. And took place in Chesterfield. And I found, unless I'm wrong, I talked to my neighbor that a little ink was produced between my neighbor and myself, running down the property line. Now, instead of going in front of my home, it's going to be coming up beside my home, between my property and his property. It will probably be, instead of 76 feet away, now it's going to probably be 120 feet away, but in his property. And then it comes to 528, makes a direct left, and goes across my property again, on two sides. So I know what the percentage of devaluation is for one going on one side, but what is the percentage of devaluation for going on two sides of your 1 acre property? I don't know. That's my personal opinion. Have a great Thanksgiving, and I'll try to. Thank you.
Anyone else? I see a hand. Okay. You could please state your name and your town.
Hi, my name is Catherine Marlin, and I live in Chesterfield Township as well. My husband and I live next to, well, technically across the street from the proposed site for the compression station, so we will be directly impacted on a day-to-day basis. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention that there are homes right across the street from the proposed site, which, you know, obviously anytime we leave our house, we'll have to go by it. When we come home, we'll have to go by it. When we look out our window, we're gonna have to look at it. If we have picnics in our backyard, we're gonna have to deal with it every day, every minute of every day. And it's just extremely concerning. It's very hard not to be emotional about this because you are impacting my life, my husband's life, our 2 dogs, our hypothetical child, you know, and all of the above. We just moved into our house about 6 years ago. There's no way at this point in time that we would be able to sell our house either, at least not at a price that we paid for it or make any type of, you know, any money on it at least. So I feel very stuck in this situation, and I don't like to feel stuck. There's no way out. There's no way out. We're stuck. And so are the neighbors in this position as well. My husband and I last year, we paved our driveway, and we wanted to make it a U so we would have 2 entrances so it would be safer for us to come and go and not have to worry about backing out onto 528, which is a very busy road. And we were denied that. We were not allowed to have 2 entrances. But now the compression station wants to have 3 entrances, and that's only within a couple 100 feet of each other, so I don't understand that as well. So I just, it's sorry. I'm very frustrated, I'm sorry. I'm very frustrated. So that's all. I was just wish you to take that into consideration when you're thinking about the compression station, the pipeline, and all that it entails. Just to think about it. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you guys.
Okay, I see another hand. Sir, if you can please state your name and town.
Dennis Wilno, 40 Thorntown Lane, Bordentown, New Jersey. I live 0.2 miles outside the blast zone of the compression station. I'm a lifelong Burlington County resident. I work for the county. I'm a teacher. I do a lot of different things. I love this county. I love how it's kept. Farmland, it's awesome. Again, like everybody else is saying, this gives zero benefit to us. And what I'm looking for from this governing body is leadership. To unify all of these towns that are being impacted, to bring us together and to file an intervention with FERC. The clock is ticking on that. If we try to do this a month from now, they're gonna well, sorry, FERC's comment section is closed. We need you, I'm looking for leadership with this. I understand you can't speak, but I feel like we all need to unify together. They want to break us up and use divide and conquer strategy. I would even say communicate with Ocean County, Monmouth County, everybody who's impacted. I want to keep this community as safe as possible. Also, I don't know if anybody else had mentioned this, we talked about accidental explosions. That is a gigantic terrorist target.
Yeah.
The turnpike, it's how many lanes is it now? 10 lanes, 12 lanes? You shut down the turnpike, I mean, you can't move anything. That is the lifeblood of this state. So I think that would be, if I were a bad guy, that's a place that I would look. This is not manned, even though they say it is. There's going to be a guy there 9 to 5, God knows what he's doing, sleeping, I don't know what's going on. So I'm just concerned, and I was at the Bordentown presentation, I was shocked. If I were a teacher getting evaluated in that situation, they would be out. I mean, they had no answers to any questions. I don't know if that's part of their strategy. But we need to unify, and I'm looking for leadership. You guys are up here. Again, I thank you for your time. Have a great holiday.
Anyone else? Okay. Well, then we'll move on.
Can I clarify a thing about the docket again? You're involved with litigation with BPU, not in state court, but in BPU court, if that's a thing?
It's an agency, it's a state agency, that's correct.
So it's not a court the way we would think of?
It's not a superior court right next door, but it's a state agency that has jurisdiction over these issues.
And they have like a gag order jurisdiction as well for you guys?
No.
No, this is my legal advice to the freeholders, because the
Oh, and they
matters
could
under
choose
litigation.
they could choose to not.
Well, I think what's important to understand about that is, when you are involved in litigation, you don't like to show your hand to the other side.
Sure.
Anything we say up here is operable and is available to the public. It's being recorded. So in the best interest of our position moving forward, I think our legal counsel has advised us not to speak.
Yeah, I think our frustration is we want to know if your legal counsel has also advised you to oppose the route or the pipeline itself. And that's kind of frustrating that we can't get that answer. So I understand your unwillingness to talk about it, but I think you can understand our frustration as well.
All right, we're going to move on then, and we're going to close the public portion of the meeting and move on to the public comment.
Okay, great. Well, let me thank everybody for, I figured it was coming over here. So let me thank everyone for coming out tonight. Or this morning, especially the morning before Thanksgiving, before a holiday. We absolutely value your input. I think it's very important. As I said earlier, I'm a firm believer in squeaky wheel gets the oil. So being out here and letting us know, helps us move forward. There were a couple things that I heard tonight, or this morning, that I think are outside where we currently stand with the litigation that we're involved in. And we heard quite a bit this morning about the compressor, which we have not previously taken a stand on. And if I heard correctly, my understanding is that we would need to file an opposition by December 4th. So what I would like to do at this point is to actually make a motion that, that this board look into this further and potentially file that opposition if we can by the deadline.
Director, a motion would not be appropriate at this time. This matter is not on the agenda for action.
So no motion at this time. Excuse me.
Collins.
Formally, a motion is not before us, but that does not preclude us from proceeding further and discussing and moving forward with that. So that's it. And so just to continue, I think that it's imperative that we take the comments that were brought before us today from the public as well as from some of our municipal leaders, and given the deadlines that are before us, take that into further consideration. So, without saying more, I do want to again thank everyone for coming out and have a very safe and happy holiday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to Freeholder Dowling.
Thank you, Director. I think Freeholder Belgard handled it pretty well. She wrapped it all up. I do want to learn more about this. I think it's incumbent upon us to do so. So let's go further to this compressor side of the issue. We can focus more singularly on that.
We can't hear you.
Well, I'm done anyway. So with that, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, yeah.
Okay. Freeholder Gargano.
I agree. I mean, we need to take a look at that. I think if you look where our position was before, is we were not opposing the pipeline, we were opposing the route.
Yeah.
And that's, so I mean, that's basically where our position has been from day one with this. The compressor does give us there's issues there. That's something to look at. I've taken 3.5 pages of notes with different comments in our own, that it's something that we really haven't dug into. So I agree. I think we need to take a hard look at it. And I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. And I agree. We've heard so much about the compressor station today, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate you coming out and telling us, all of your facts, all of your feelings, all of how you're affected by it. So we've heard, and we will do what we can. So we really appreciate, you taking the time, taking off from work, being here today. So I want to thank you, and you really have, enlightened us, and we appreciate it. Thank you. I would like at this time to give an update on something that's different than the compressor station and the pipeline. This is about the Centerton Road Bridge. I recently met, along with our engineer, Joe Berkeley, with senior officials from the New Jersey Department of Transportation. And at this time, when we met, we made it very clear that we intended to pursue the funding necessary to replace the Centerton Road Bridge. But we'd be, looking to the DOT for advice and support in that. They let us know, they confirmed that without the legislature in Trenton dealing with the Transportation Trust Fund, that needs to be addressed. It is going to be bankrupt by the middle of next year. So, this is a problem not only for the Centerton Road Bridge, but it extends to all bridges in the county. We need an adequately funded transportation trust fund to address all of the infrastructure, in our towns across the state. So, by not addressing the transportation trust fund, all of our 300 bridges and 500 miles of road are at risk. So we're asking everyone concerned with the Centerton Road Bridge to urge the legislature to act in this regard and to act now for the Centerton Road Bridge and for all of our infrastructure needs. We ask you to reach out to all of your local legislators and make your voices heard with regard to that. So with that, thank you all again for coming out and giving us all of your comments. And we wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. This time I'll take a motion to adjourn. Second motion by Freeholder Donnelly, second by Freeholder Bellegarde. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.